Okay, let's unpack this. We pour, countless hours and huge resources into the front door, hiring, onboarding, engagement, all that stuff.
Right, the welcome mat.
Exactly. But today, we're taking a really necessary, maybe even overdue deep dive into what happens when people walk out the back door. Enterprise offboarding.
Hmm.
Our mission really is to figure out why this thing that used to be seen as just, admin work.
For pushing.
Yeah, exactly. Why it's suddenly become this non-negotiable strategic thing for big global companies.
Well, the oversight, it's kind of staggering when you look at it.
It really is, isn't it? Leaders see it as cleanup, but everything we're seeing suggests that letting it stay messy, error-prone, well, it creates immediate risks.
And quantifiable ones, too. Plus, you're missing out on big opportunities.
Okay, so connect that to the brand then. How does sloppy admin actually hurt the company's image?
Well, it's surprisingly direct. Think about it. A bad exit experience, that gets talked about quickly and publicly sometimes. We found this Gallup research, and it really nails it. Get this. 74%, almost 3/4 of exiting employees say how they're treated during offboarding. That directly influences if they'll recommend the company later on.
74%. Wow. That number, it should be like flashing red on every HR leader's dashboard.
It really should.
So you're saying whether someone becomes a fan, an ambassador, or goes straight to Glassdoor to complain, it pretty much hinges on how smooth that last couple of weeks are.
It absolutely does. It completely flips the script, Offboarding isn't just ticking boxes anymore. It's fundamentally about protecting your brand.
Right. A safeguard.
Exactly. And if you mess it up, the consequences pile up fast. You've got compliance delays, think penalties, maybe lawsuits. Then there are serious security holes, unreturned laptops, badges.
Or worse, someone still having system access they shouldn't.
Precisely. That's the big one. And then, of course, the obvious damage to your employer brand when people share those frustrating stories online.
Okay, the stakes are clearly huge. So for the rest of this deep dive, let's first really look at the challenges, especially when these messy processes hit the scale and complexity of a big enterprise.
Makes sense.
And then we'll lay out those three sort of foundational pillars that make for a world-class offboarding program.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Let's start with that enterprise challenge. Our sources gave us a great real-world example of this global company, over 25,000 employees.
Okay, yeah. You can immediately picture the scale there.
Right, and their process, it started with good intentions, apparently, but once they hit that size, well, you said it earlier, chaos.
Yeah, it was classic enterprise inefficiency, just amplified. They were wrestling with silos between departments and fragmented tech.
So IT doesn't talk to finance, finance doesn't talk to HR.
Pretty much. And picture this, their main offboarding system. It relied heavily on Excel spreadsheets, prone to errors, obviously. Yeah. Critical info like, did we get the laptop back? When was their last 401k contribution? Is their security access really turned off? All scattered across like dozens of separate spreadsheets, different teams managing them.
So instead of being strategic, your HR person is basically spending, 80% of their time just chasing updates, trying to make the spreadsheets match.
That's exactly it. Chasing signatures, reconciling data points. And this mess, this fragmentation, it had a real measurable impact on how long things took.
How long are we talking?
Employee exits were averaging 35 to 45 days to fully complete.
Wow. Compared to what they wanted.
Their goal was under 22 days to get everything done, compliance, security, final pay, everything.
So nearly double the time?
Yeah. And the complexity wasn't just the sheer number of people. It was the gaps, the manual gaps between systems. Like the resignation might go into one HR system, but calculating the final paycheck, that happened in a completely separate payroll platform.
Which means someone has to manually copy data across high-stakes data, too.
Right. Constantly. High-stakes manual data transfer. It's a recipe for mistakes.
That sounds like a system guaranteed to have errors. But let's put some numbers on that scale challenge, because the math is where it just looks, well, impossible to do manually.
It is impossible, really. Take that 25,000 employee company. Let's say just 2% leave each month.
Yeah.
That's pretty conservative for some industries.
Okay, 2%, that's 500 departures every single month.
Right, 500 people leaving. Now, if each departure needs, say, just 20 manual tasks, getting assets back, shutting down accounts, closing benefits.
Which sounds low, honestly.
It probably is low, but let's use 20. That's 500 times 20. You're generating 10,000 manual process steps every single
month. 10,000 manual steps just for departures. Wow. My immediate thought is there like a tipping point?
Yeah.
A size where automation isn't just nice to have, but absolutely essential for
It's
survival.
like 10,000 steps to the breaking point. Yeah. It's just mathematically impossible to manage that volume by hand without constant errors, delays, and critically compliance gaps slipping through.
Yeah.
You just can't get consistency or speed with that much manual intervention.
Which forces you straight into looking for solutions that can actually scale.
Exactly. It leads us right to the solutions.
Okay, so let's look at how the best companies are tackling this mathematical impossibility. We've identified 3 key pillars that seem to define top-tier offboarding.
Right.
Pillar number 1 has to hit that core problem we just talked about, the silos, the fragmentation, let's call it centralized visibility and accountability.
Makes sense.
Because if your HR team is spending all its time being panicked process coordinators, you've already lost.
You've absolutely lost.
Yeah.
That visibility is crucial because offboarding, it's like conducting an orchestra, isn't it?
Yeah.
Across all these different functions, IT, finance, HR, legal, security.
Yeah.
What you need is a single place, a single dashboard showing the status of every single task across all those departments. No more spreadsheets.
So you're moving beyond just asking, is it done? You're asking, why is that specific task stuck in that department?
Precisely. And to get that kind of control, you need a few specific things. First, those progress dashboards we mentioned, they need to clearly show where things stand so leaders can spot bottlenecks.
Not just general bottlenecks, but like, why is IT always slow in Frankfurt?
Yeah.
Kind of specific.
Exactly, that level of detail.
Yeah.
Advanced filtering. Second, and this is critical, you need a complete audit trail. Tamper-proof, documenting every action, every approval, every system change.
Ah, the audit trail. That's the defense mechanism, isn't it? If you get audited, or worse, sued.
You need proof.
Yeah, you need actual verifiable proof of when access was cut off, not just a check mark someone put on a spreadsheet 3 weeks later.
Absolutely. I think we did it into, here's the timestamp proof we did it. It changes everything.
Okay, what else for visibility?
And finally, you need automated escalation, robust protocols. So if a critical task, like revoking that system access, gets stuck past its deadline.
The system automatically flags it, pushes it up the chain.
Exactly. It notifies the right people, maybe bumps it to a manager. This stops those critical security issues from just falling through the cracks because someone forgot or was too busy.
Okay, that makes sense. It shifts HR and security from constantly putting out fires to actually managing the process proactively.
That's a goal.
Let's move to pillar 2 then. Intelligent automation and scalability. This seems like the direct answer to that 10,000 steps a month problem.
It has to be. Automation is really the only way you bring consistency and speed when you're dealing with that kind of volume.
So where does the automation start?
It starts with smart workflow triggers. The moment that separation is official in the system, whether it's someone resigning or an involuntary termination,
Right.
the system instantly kicks off the right sequence of tasks, customized for the situation, sent to IT, finance, HR, everyone who needs to act.
Meaning no more lag time. No waiting for someone to notice an email and forward it to 4 different departments.
Correct. The clock starts immediately. No human delay.
Okay, what else does automation do?
Beyond just starting things, you need systematic reminders, gentle nudges, then maybe firmer ones to make sure people complete their tasks before the deadline passes.
Keeps things moving.
Exactly. And we also look for bulk processing. Think about IT. Instead of handling one request to wipe a laptop, then another, then another.
They should be able to batch them. Handle dozens at once.
Exactly. Process dozens of asset returns or system deactivations in minutes using automated tools instead of spending hours doing it one by one.
And the results? Does this actually work?
Oh, the results could be huge. We saw one case, a big healthcare organization, they cut their average offboarding time by 60%.
60%, just by streamlining things like asset returns and getting those clearance approvals faster through automation.
That's right, 60%. That's a massive saving when you think about the cost and risk of carrying ex-employees on your systems for weeks longer than necessary.
No kidding. Okay, let's pivot to pillar 3. This brings us right back to that staggering 74% number you mentioned earlier. Pillar 3. Employee-centered experience design. We really need to stress this. Treating people well on the way out, respectfully, efficiently. It's the only way to stop them becoming those vocal critics.
Absolutely. And the design here, it focuses on transparency, empowerment, making it less stressful for the employee during what can be, let's face it, a difficult time.
So what does that look like in practice?
Well, things like employee self-service portals, A dedicated place where the person leaving can actually track their own offboarding progress.
See what's done, what's still pending.
Exactly. And maybe complete some required checklists themselves, access necessary documents, all without having to constantly email HR asking for updates.
Okay, but hold on. Giving a departing employee access to a self-service portal, doesn't that scream security risk? What if they try to access things they shouldn't?
That's a really important question. And the key is secure, authorized access that's tailored specifically to their departing status.
Ah, okay.
The goal isn't to give them the keys to the kingdom. It's to give them transparency into their specific offboarding process, access to their relevant documents, their final pay info, things like that.
Got it. So it's locked down, but gives them the info they need.
Precisely. It reduces their anxiety, makes them feel respected, and honestly, prevents a lot of disputes down the line. They also need digital ways to review and approve their final settlement.
So they can see the calculations clearly.
Yes, transparently. It builds trust that the company is being fair and makes legal challenges less likely.
Makes sense. And what about after they've left? They still need stuff sometimes, right? Tax forms, employment verification.
Absolutely essential. You need secure post-departure document access, a reliable, easy, secure way for them to get, say, their W-2 or P-60 or a letter verifying their employment months, even years later.
Right.
Providing that kind of seamless post-exit support, that really strengthens your alumni network and stops that brand damage we talked about earlier.
That moves us perfectly into the bigger picture, the strategic benefits. We've kind of shifted this from just fixing operational headaches to seeing it as a real competitive advantage. We mentioned better employer branding, maybe easier rehiring down the line. These seem like direct results of just treating people decently as they leave.
They absolutely are. And let's tie it back again to the biggest risk we keep hitting on. Security. Offboarding is such a critical control point for protecting data. Remember that IBM cost of a data breach report?
Vaguely, what did it say?
It found that a staggering 30%, nearly a third of data breaches, involved former employees, people who still had system access after they left.
30%. That stat alone should frankly terrify every CISO out there.
It should. Investing in fast, systematic offboarding is honestly one of the most cost-effective cybersecurity moves a company can make. Pure risk reduction.
Okay. So to make any of this work, the automation, the security, the visibility, there's this underlying thing you called the integration imperative.
Yes.
We talked about fragmentation being the enemy. So good offboarding seems totally dependent on systems actually talking to each other smoothly.
It has to be seamless. If you're still manually transferring data between systems from the HR platform where the resignation goes in to the payroll system to the IT system that cuts off access.
You're just introducing delays, errors.
Exactly. Latency, human mistakes, huge compliance risks, offboarding demands, automated synchronization between these systems.
So you need things like APIs, those connectors that let systems talk directly.
Definitely. You need robust APIs that create a trusted real-time connection between all your core platforms, HRIS, payroll, IT service management, maybe even physical security systems.
Can you just elaborate on why APIs are so important? Why not just, I don't know, send a file over once a day, a batch file?
Well, in many cases, a daily batch file is simply too slow. Think about an involuntary separation. You need to revoke access immediately, not tomorrow morning.
Right. Minutes matter.
Minutes matter. Across multiple platforms simultaneously. And you need to kick off final pay calculations instantly to meet those tight compliance deadlines we discussed. APIs allow that instant verified data exchange. It closes the window for manual errors or security gaps.
So when choosing vendors, you really need to check they're committed to open integration, that they play nicely with others.
Absolutely critical. You have to prioritize vendors with open architectures who can readily connect with your existing tech stack. Otherwise, you're just creating another silo.
Okay. And finally, are we seeing global trends pushing companies this way too? Is compliance tightening everywhere?
Definitely. Compliance rules are getting stricter worldwide, which basically shrinks the time you have available for slow manual processing.
Any examples?
Well, we see countries like India looking at really rapid final payment regulations, much like the strict rules already in place in parts of the US or the UK.
So if you only have, say, 24 or 48 hours to get final pay, absolutely perfect.
You simply cannot rely on manual calculations or chasing data across spreadsheets. It's impossible.
Which brings it all back to strategy.
It does. And I think the HR analyst Josh Bersin summed it up really well. He said something like, HR leaders who digitize offboarding unlock insights that go far beyond exits. They improve workforce planning, compliance readiness, and leadership accountability.
That really is the ultimate takeaway, isn't it? You implement these pillars, centralized visibility, smart automation, employee-centered design, and offboarding stops being this huge operational risk.
Hmm.
It actually becomes a competitive advantage. It secures your data, protects your brand.
And so when you are looking at technology to help with this, you absolutely must ensure it delivers those core things for enterprise scale. Those comprehensive dashboards, the full audit trails, the smart workflow automation, ways to manage assets and documents smoothly.
And crucially,
And crucially, those seamless API-based integrations with everything else you use. Without that full package, you're just, putting a digital wrapper on the old paper trail. You're not solving the real problem.
excellent points. Okay, so here's our final thought for you, our listeners, to chew on, building on all this. We now know that getting offboarding right strengthens your brand, even boosts your chances of rehiring great people later.
Right. The alumni network.
Exactly. So think about the actual long-term value of your company's alumni network. How much is that network potentially worth to your future talent pipeline? And then ask yourself, how much are your current manual, messy, error-prone offboarding processes actively eroding that critical talent pool day after day?
Something to think about.
Definitely something to consider next time someone hands in their notice.